Ethan lived in a small apartment on the edge of the city, where the lights never fully dimmed, and the hum of machines formed a constant background to life. He liked it that way. Quiet evenings gave him time to tinker with gadgets, read old books, or simply watch the neon skyline stretch toward the stars. Humanity had advanced in ways people only dreamed of a century ago. Space travel was common. Robots helped in nearly every field, and interstellar messages were no longer science fiction. Still, for Ethan, the most interesting things were the small, personal discoveries, the little sparks that made life unpredictable. One night, as he was adjusting a sensor on a new drone he had been designing, a soft hum filled the air. At first, he thought it was the city's automated transport systems. But the sound was different, melodic almost, and coming from outside his window. He put down his tools and walked to the balcony. Below, in the quiet alley behind his building, a small spacecraft shimmered in the moonlight. It wasn't like anything he had seen before. Sleek, reflective, almost liquid in form, it hovered silently, and tiny pulses of light ran along its surface. Ethan's heart raced. He had read about first contact scenarios, but no manual could prepare him for the sight of a real alien vessel in his own city. A door hatch wasn't sure opened on the craft. A figure emerged. At first he thought it was a reflection, a trick of the lights. But then the figure stepped into the open. She was humanoid but unlike any human he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered in soft shades of blue and violet, and her large eyes reflected the city lights like mirrors. Her hair floated slightly as if underwater, shifting in colors with every subtle movement. Ethan froze. The alien girl looked at him, tilting her head slightly, curious. Then she spoke. "Is there space left in your bed?" Ethan blinked. The words sounded strange, broken, but the meaning was clear. A small smile tugged at the corner of his lips. Who would have thought a first contact scenario would begin with a question about his bed? I guess, he said slowly, stepping back. You can come in, I think. She tilted her head again and gave a small nod, a gesture almost human, almost familiar. Ethan hurried to clear some space in his apartment. He wasn't sure what he should do. Offer her food, show her technology, or simply sit and wait, but her presence demanded attention. The alien girl stepped inside with cautious grace. Her eyes scanned the room, taking in the cluttered desk, the tools, the small plants on the windowsill. She didn't speak, but Ethan felt as if she was absorbing every detail. My name. Lyra, she said finally, her voice musical, yet soft. I'm Ethan, he replied. Welcome, I guess. Lyra nodded again. Her glowing eyes seemed to study him with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. She glanced at the bed and then back at him. Space. Yes. Yes, Ethan said, moving aside a small pile of books. There's space. You can. Sit or lie down, Lyra smiled. He noticed it wasn't a wide human smile, but subtle, delicate, and somehow bright. She moved toward the bed and sat down, her posture straight, yet relaxed. Ethan watched, fascinated. There was a calmness about her, an ease that contrasted sharply with the tension in his own chest. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Lyra tilted her head again and said, Why? Humans sleep? Ethan chuckled softly. We need rest. Our bodies, our minds, they need a pause. You don't? Lyra shook her head. No, not same. She looked at him with what felt like a mixture of wonder and a quiet sadness. Always awake. Learn. See. Explore that. Sounds amazing, Ethan said. But it's also tiring? She nodded slowly. Sometimes. Yes. The night passed in strange but peaceful silence. Ethan offered her water and a simple meal bread, fruit and cheese. Lyra examined everything with care, touching items gently, smelling them, and tasting them with careful curiosity. She seemed fascinated by the way humans created simple, functional objects, and she asked countless questions about things he had always taken for granted. What? This? She asked, holding a small wristwatch. It tells time, Ethan explained. Hours, minutes, seconds. Keeps track of our day. Lyra's eyes widened. Small tell. Universe? Not the universe, Ethan laughed. Just our day. Our life. Lyra tilted her head again, absorbing the concept. She seemed both amazed and slightly disappointed, as if human life was far smaller than she had imagined, but in her own way. Beautiful. After the meal, Ethan suggested they look at the stars. He led Lyra to the balcony and pointed out constellations. She listened intently, repeating the names with effort and fascination. Earth. Home? She asked, pointing at the glowing city below. Yes, Ethan said. And I like it here, even with all its chaos. Lyra's gaze drifted upward. So many stars. So many worlds. Ethan nodded. Yeah, humans have only just begun to explore them. We've sent people to nearby planets, probes to distant stars, and satellites everywhere. But most of the universe is still unknown. Lyra's eyes shone with a mixture of longing and curiosity. Want. See. Universe? Yes, Ethan said quietly. One day. But even now, we can imagine it. The two of them sat in silence, looking at the city lights and the stars above. Ethan felt an odd sense of comfort, as if the universe itself had narrowed into this quiet balcony with a strange, shining girl from the stars. Days passed and Lyra stayed with him. She learned quickly, asking questions about human behavior, technology, and emotions. Ethan, in turn, learned about her species, beings who traveled the cosmos, studying civilizations without interfering, curious, cautious, and highly intelligent. Lyra had never encountered humans in person, only through distant scans and reports. Ethan's empathy, humor, and ingenuity seemed to impress her, something unusual among her people. One evening, Ethan brought out a small drone he had been designing. Lyra watched in fascination as he assembled it piece by piece. You create? She asked. Yes, I like to make things. Build, fix, understand, he said. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Humans. Clever. Ethan smiled. You're not so bad yourself. She tilted her head, a gesture that felt almost like a bow. Learn from human. For the first time, Ethan realized that humanity itself fits curiosity. Compassion and creativity was something remarkable. Lyra, a traveler of countless worlds, found his simple gestures of kindness and ingenuity impressive. The thought filled him with quiet pride as the night deepened. Lyra asked him the question again, softly this time. Space. Left? Ethan chuckled. Yes, Lyra. Always space for friends. Always. She smiled faintly, her glowing eyes reflecting the city lights. For the first time, Ethan felt that perhaps the universe wasn't so lonely. Not if humans could meet beings like her and share a moment of understanding, curiosity, and friendship. The hum of the city below and the quiet shimmer of distant stars formed a backdrop to their unusual companionship. Ethan went to sleep that night feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Hope that humanity could continue to explore, to create, and to connect not just with each other, but with the stars themselves, and perhaps, somewhere among those stars, there would always be space left for the unexpected, the curious, and the extraordinary. The city outside Ethan's apartment continued its endless rhythm. Lights flickering and vehicles humming, but inside, a quieter, more unusual world had formed. Lyra had begun to settle into Ethan's routines, though nothing about her presence felt ordinary. Every action she took, whether tilting her head curiously at a book or watching a droplet of water slide across the floor, felt like a discovery. As though everything human was a miracle to her, Ethan had learned to adjust to. Where he once enjoyed solitude, he now found comfort in sharing his space and ideas with Lyra. It wasn't just her alien nature that fascinated him. It was her way of seeing the universe. She noticed connections he had never considered, and asked questions that forced him to think beyond the city walls, beyond even Earth itself. One morning, Lyra asked a question that caught him off guard. Why? Humans. Afraid. Of small things. Ethan laughed. Small things? What do you mean? Creature. Bites. Insect. Noise. Humans. Afraid. Well, Ethan said, thinking, maybe because we don't always understand them. Fear is a way to protect ourselves. Lyra studied him for a moment, tilting her glowing head. Interesting, humans. Protect mind, not only body. Ethan nodded. Exactly. We learn, adapt, survive. That's human nature. Lyra smiled faintly. Clever. Their days began to take a rhythm. Ethan showed her simple human inventions. His drone designs, mechanical gadgets, even a small telescope that could track planets. Lyra, in turn, demonstrated her alien tools, small, elegant devices that bent light and energy in ways humans hadn't yet mastered. While Ethan didn't fully understand how they worked, he was inspired by the logic behind them. You. Build small, like me. Lyra asked one evening, watching him adjust a drone's sensors. Yes, he replied. We both create to understand. We both want to learn. Her eyes glimmered. Good, human. Clever. That night, they went to the rooftop, a space Ethan rarely used except for the view of the stars. Lyra's fascination was immediate. Stars. So many? Always? She whispered, reaching toward the sky as if she could touch the distant points of light. Yes, Ethan said softly. Billions of them. Some have planets. Some might have life. Maybe even intelligent life like you. Lyra's glowing eyes narrowed in thought. Lonely? Or exciting? Both, Ethan admitted. Lonely, sometimes. But also full of possibility. That's what makes humans keep looking, keep learning. She seemed to ponder his words, staring at the vastness above. Ethan realized that, for all her advanced technology and interstellar travels, she had never experienced the quiet, personal wonder that humans took for granted. Watching her watch the stars, felt a deep connection to the universe in a way he hadn't felt alone. The next day, their calm was interrupted by a strange hum, sharper and more urgent than any city sound. From the street below, a small drone descended, sleek and mechanical, scanning the area with bright sensors. Lyra froze. Scout. Sent? She asked in a whisper. Ethan frowned. Scout. It seems someone watching. Not human, she explained.
Tracking me.
Curiosity. Caution. The drone's sensors glinted in the sunlight as it hovered above the alley. Ethan had to think fast. He grabbed a portable EMP device he had been tinkering with and ran toward the balcony. We need to redirect it, Ethan said, his mind working quickly. It could cause trouble if it detects too much, or alarms the authorities. Lyra nodded, moving with surprising agility. Together, they improvised. Ethan adjusted the EMP frequency while Lyra used her alien device to mask their heat signature. The drone hesitated, its sensors scanning, then slowly veered away. Redirected harmlessly into a nearby empty street. It worked, Ethan said, exhaling heavily. Your scout. It won't cause trouble now. Lyra's eyes shone brighter than usual. Human. Clever. Brave. Ethan shrugged, trying to hide his pride. Just problem-solving. Humans do it all the time. Lyra tilted her head thoughtfully. Humans. Strong. Not only body, also mind. Over the following days, Ethan noticed that Lyra began observing human routines with more curiosity than ever. She paid attention to small gestures, the way he organized tools, the way he brewed coffee, the way he spoke to neighbors. Everything seemed extraordinary to her. Humans, small, daily, yet deep, she said one morning as they ate breakfast. Learn, care, survive. Simple. Strong. Ethan smiled. You're not wrong. We try to make life meaningful, even in small ways. Lyra paused, looking at him. Humans. Clever. Inspire. That night, Ethan brought out his telescope and pointed it toward a distant cluster of stars. "Do you want to see something?" he asked. Lyra's glowing eyes widened. "Yes. Show me." He adjusted the focus and showed her a distant nebula. The colors purple, blue, pink swirled together in the vast darkness of space. Lyra gasped softly, a sound like wind through glass. "Beautiful. Endless like dreams," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "That's what humans feel when we look at the stars. Possibility. Hope." Lyra leaned closer, as if trying to memorize the view. Humans. Hope. Strong. Make universe. Smaller. Ethan realized she meant that human curiosity and hope had a power of its own, something even an advanced alien could admire. The following week, Ethan decided to introduce her to one of humanity's simplest joys: music. He played soft melodies on a keyboard, letting the sounds fill the room. Lyra listened intently, tilting her head with every note. "Sound. Move. Heart. Human express," she said. "Yes," Ethan said softly. "We try to express what words cannot." Lyra's eyes gleamed. Humans. Clever. Creative. Strong. As they shared these small experiences, Ethan began to notice a change in himself too. Her curiosity reminded him to see the world differently, to notice the little miracles in everyday life, and to cherish the connections he often overlooked. Humanity, he realized, was not only about technology or exploration, it was about empathy, learning, and courage. One evening, while watching the city from the rooftop, Lyra asked, "Humans. Afraid? Future?" Ethan thought for a moment. "Sometimes," he admitted, "but we adapt. We solve problems. We hope." Lyra's glowing eyes softened. "Good, human. Strong. Clever." Just then, a soft breeze carried the distant sounds of the city below. Ethan reached out, taking a small, careful gesture, and tapped her arm lightly. Even in a big universe, there's always space. For hope, for learning, for connection. Lyra looked at him, a faint smile forming. Yes. Space. Left. Always. Human. The night deepened, and the two of them sat quietly, sharing a rare moment of understanding. Outside, the city thrummed with life. Above, stars stretched endlessly. Between them, a bond had formed, not just of friendship, but of mutual admiration. Ethan's human ingenuity, empathy, and creativity had left a mark on Lyra, and in turn, her curiosity and wonder had reminded him of the beauty in ordinary life. Ethan knew that their time together might be limited. Lyra had responsibilities, missions, and a world beyond Earth waiting. But in these days, they had learned something invaluable: humanity's spirit, the courage to explore, the intelligence to solve problems, and the heart to care, something that could inspire even those who had traveled across the stars. As Lyra looked at him that night and softly said, "Space. Left," Ethan laughed quietly. The question now, a gentle echo of their first encounter. "Yes," he said. "Always space for friends. Always space for hope. Always space to learn." And in that quiet rooftop moment, amid the soft hum of the city and the endless glow of stars above, Ethan realized that perhaps this was what humanity had always been meant to do: to reach out, to connect, and to shine even in a universe so vast it could swallow a single human life in a heartbeat. The city lights stretched endlessly below Ethan's apartment. But for him, the universe had never felt smaller or larger than in the past few days. Lyra had become more than a visitor. She was a presence that brought curiosity, wonder, and a strange sense of purpose into his life. Yet he knew her stay could not last forever. One morning, Lyra awoke with a quiet intensity in her glowing eyes. She moved with a subtle urgency, arranging her alien tools and scanning her small room as if preparing for a journey. Ethan noticed immediately. "You leaving?" he asked softly, trying not to show the unease he felt. Lyra turned to him, her expression calm but firm. "Soon, Mission complete. Must return, but sad. Leave, Ethan nodded, understanding more than words could say. I see you've done what you came to do. Yes. Learn, understand. Humans. Clever. Kind, she replied. Her voice was soft, almost musical, carrying a warmth that seemed to brighten the small apartment. Human. Heart. Strong. Inspire Lyra. Ethan felt a surge of pride. She had seen his species as a collection of mistakes, chaos, and unpredictability. Yet she also recognized something rare: humanity's courage, ingenuity, and empathy. He smiled, trying to hide the ache in his chest. I'm glad, he said quietly. I've learned from you too. It's about patience, curiosity, and perspective. Lyra nodded, stepping closer. Yes, both learn, grow. The hours that followed were filled with quiet preparation. Ethan helped Lyra pack her personal devices, guiding her as she handled delicate alien instruments that shimmered with faint inner light. They didn't speak much. Words felt unnecessary. Their bond had grown beyond speech, rooted in shared experiences, quiet nights under the stars, laughter over strange human meals, and the thrill of solving small problems together. As evening approached, Lyra led Ethan to the rooftop. The city sprawled below, glowing in artificial colors, while above, the stars began to emerge in the deepening sky. She gestured toward the heavens with both hands, as if showing the possibilities that awaited beyond Earth. Many worlds, many lives, many choices, she said softly. Yes, Ethan replied, and humans will explore them. We'll learn, adapt, and survive. That's who we are. Lyra studied him carefully. Strong, clever, humans, heart, different, inspire. She paused, then tilted her head, a small gesture that carried both humor and warmth. Is space left in bed? Ethan laughed, the sound carrying across the rooftop. It was the same question that had brought her into his life, now layered with shared memories, trust, and affection. Yes, he said. There's always space for friends. Always space for the unexpected. Always space for hope. She smiled faintly, her glowing eyes reflecting the city lights below. For a moment, the world seemed suspended between Earth and the stars, between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Then, a soft hum filled the air. Lyra's small spacecraft descended gently onto the rooftop, its reflective surface shimmering in the last light of dusk. She stepped inside, pausing to look back at Ethan. Double quotes. Thank, human. For kindness. Curiosity. Heart, she said, her voice steady but warm. Ethan nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. Thank you, Lyra, for teaching me how to see the universe differently. The hatch of the spacecraft closed slowly, and with a soft pulse of light, Lyra's ship lifted into the sky. Ethan watched, mesmerized as it ascended, leaving a trail of faint luminescence across the cityscape. Then, it disappeared into the darkness, leaving him alone on the rooftop. Staring at the stars she had loved so much in the days that followed, Ethan felt the absence of her presence keenly. The apartment seemed quieter, the city less vibrant. Yet he realized that Lyra had left something behind that no one could take, a sense of purpose, a reminder that humanity had qualities worthy of admiration, even across the stars. He often returned to the rooftop, looking up at the constellations, recalling their conversations and shared moments. He remembered how she had been fascinated by the simplest of human inventions, how she had marveled at music, stories, and the act of resting in a bed. Every detail reminded him that humanity's strength wasn't only in technology or exploration, it was in empathy, curiosity, and the ability to inspire. One evening, as he tinkered with the small drone Lyra had helped him repair, he noticed a faint glow emanating from a small device she had left behind. He picked it up, realizing it was a compact, alien data crystalline, information source far beyond Earth's current technology. Its interface was complex, yet somehow intuitive. This is yours, Ethan said aloud, though no one was there to hear. A gift. A bridge. A chance to learn. Lunas the device, and soft, luminous patterns filled the room. Star maps, interstellar travel logs, and cultural records of countless civilizations appeared. Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. Humans had always been explorers, but now, with this knowledge, he could contribute to understanding the universe in ways previously impossible. Weeks turned into months. Ethan shared his discoveries with trusted colleagues, building a network of humans inspired by the alien crystal. They worked together, combining human creativity, ingenuity, and courage with the insights Lyra had left behind. Slowly, humanity took steps closer to the stars, not through conquest, but through curiosity, cooperation, and understanding the very qualities Lyra had admired. Yet even as humanity advanced, Ethan never forgot the small, quiet moments with Lyra, sharing stories, eating simple meals, watching the city lights, or lying under the stars. He realized that these experiences had left a mark as deep as any technological advancement or cosmic discovery. Lyra had reminded him that human greatness lay not only in achievement, but in heart, in empathy, and in the courage to reach out to the unknown. One night, standing on the rooftop, Ethan gazed upward and whispered, "I hope you see what we've done. You know humans are worthy, clever, strong, full of heart." The stars above twinkled silently as if answering in their own cosmic language. Somewhere, far across the galaxy, Lyra might be looking back, seeing her human friend among the stars, and knowing that her time on Earth had not been wasted. Humanity had grown, inspired by a visitor from another world, and the universe had been made just a little smaller by the connection they had shared. Ethan smiled, feeling a quiet confidence he had never known before. Humanity had its flaws, its chaos, and its challenges, but it also had courage, intelligence, and empathy that could shine brighter than any star. And perhaps, in some distant corner of the cosmos, that glow would be seen, remembered, and admired by other civilizations, just as Lyra had admired it. He looked at his bed, now empty, and chuckled softly to himself. Yes, Lyra, there is space left. Always. With that thought, he returned to his work, to his city, to his life, and to the infinite possibilities that lay beyond the stars. Humanity had been reminded of its own greatness, and the universe, in its quiet way, had witnessed the small yet remarkable strength of one species willing to reach out and connect. The night stretched on, full of possibilities, and Ethan knew that one day humanity would reach those distant stars. And when they did, they would carry the spirit of curiosity, courage, and heart that Lyra had seen in them all along.